Mm.
You know what, Demetrica? I love having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's introduce yourself, and all the great things that you do to the audience.
Excellent. Hi, I am Demetrica Todd. I am a practicing attorney, been practicing law for 21 years. Started off as a public defender, then prosecutor, and I now serve as a municipal court judge in 3 municipalities in South Jersey, while being a mother to a 21-year-old college junior.
Wow, that's a handful, isn't it? Wow, that's an incredible balance. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much for your time and for being here today. We have an awesome topic that you and I touched base on not that long ago that we wanted to talk about here on the show. And it's all stems around authenticity, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it stems around authenticity. So, for those of you in the audience who are curious, what's something that's been recently passed in the House is the Crown Act. So, some
Yes.
of you might know what that means. And if, for those who don't, it actually bans the discrimination on somebody for their race-based hair, which I knew nothing about, that this discrimination existed. And there's this law now out in a couple of states. But Meech, let's talk about this a little bit today, about your personal experience with it. I bet you have a really good story to share with us.
Absolutely, I do. And it goes back to when I was in college and
Hmm.
I was getting ready to interview for a summer internship in my field at that time, which was accounting. I had a mentor who absolutely wanted nothing but the best for me. And at that time, prior, as I was prepping for the interview, she had some advice for me. So I currently wear my hair natural, which we call this locks. Prior to that, back in college, I would wear my hair braided, but I would use synthetic hair. But
Mm.
it was always braided. So her advice to me at that time was, Meech, you know what? You may want to consider, I'm going to strongly advise that you consider that you take your braids out for the interview.
Mm.
Francesca, that was something that I had to sit with. Okay. And I had to sit with it because I knew she wanted nothing but the best for me. She would not
Right,
steer me wrong. Okay.
right.
But I wasn't comfortable with doing something which was taking my hair out, which was a big part of me. The hair is a big part of me now.
Sure.
And presenting a person without braids when I knew that was not me as the person.
Sure. Right. And then what would it have been like for the employer? Right. So tell the rest of the story and what happened, because I love this story.
So
Yeah.
after sitting with it for a few, and it didn't take long. It didn't take long, Francesca. I just simply said, you know what? Thank you for the advice, and I know that you want nothing but the best for me, but I'm going to go with braids. Like, I'm going to go to the interview with braids. I went to the interview with braids, and thankfully, I was not discriminated against because I got the job. At least that's my conclusion, right? I
Right.
got the job.
Right. Right.
So I have not had the experience of being discriminated against with my hair, but I had the experience with someone who had she had her own experience or advice when it came to
Right.
interviewing, when it came to business, that her advice was that you don't go with the braids.
Wow. That's fascinating to me because there's so much to be learned from just that story, because you and I both know that it's happened a lot more than that for her to come to that advice to you
That's
to say,
right.
hey, your chances are better if you do this. But you got the job and you feel great about it. But imagine the employer who hired you, had you taken them out and then showed up for work, right? Let's talk
Yeah,
about that for a second, like what that would have been like.
right. So I didn't want to present something on Monday for an interview, someone without braids on Monday, and then
Right,
present someone with braids on Tuesday. So that would not have been fair to me. Actually,
right.
I would not have felt good about that, and not fair to the employer, right? Like, to see, at least visually, someone that looks different. So,
Right, right.
and that just wasn't, all the way around, it was unfair. So for me, the best decision was that I go into the interview as my authentic self, that I'm going to present the same person on Monday for the interview. I'm going to present the same person on Tuesday for my first day at the job. And what you see is what you get.
That's right. A professional young lady. I mean, what you see is a
Absolutely.
professional young lady, and this is who's showing up to work for you. And I love it. And for those who've done a little bit of research or understand the Crown Act, it's
Mhm.
legal in certain states, and New Jersey is
Yes.
one of them, right?
Right. New Jersey is
And
one of the states that have passed at the state level, where the Crown Act, where you cannot discriminate
right,
based on your hair.
based on your hair.
Mhm.
But not all states have, not even half. But the bottom line is right now it's passed the House, and it
Right.
passed like the second time, and now we're waiting for it to pass the Senate. So if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. So once it, if it passes the Senate, then the states don't have to worry about coming out with a law separately, right? Because then it's at the federal level, right?
Correct. So at the federal level, you would have that federal protection. So the states would not be able to undercut or undermine that federal protection of like race-based hair or
Right.
discriminating because, yeah,
Right. And it's important for employers and employees to know. It's important
absolutely.
for everybody to know in this circle. And what I love about this, it's coming at a time where a lot of people are recalculating their lives from like, is this the life that I want? Is this the job that I want? Now people can go back to their true selves and say, you know what? I want to work for an organization that
Yeah,
aligns with, right? Doesn't that?
absolutely. Because that was when it sat with me, the advice, when I had to sit with it and think about it, that was something that I asked myself, like, is this a company where I would want to work if they did not accept, receive, or appreciate the authenticity of a
That's right.
Black female, right? So
Right.
it was definitely a question that I had to answer for myself, and that answer was no. That's why I decided to go to the interview as myself with braids.
Right. And your decision in that, I think, leads to happiness because you get to be who you are, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I could share with you, I recently,
Please.
during Women's History Month, last month,
Mhm.
I was introduced to an older woman who had been wearing locks for, she told me at that time, for 40 years. And she remembered, and she told me this because I went to this particular engagement and she knew that I was a judge. And she said, I like the fact that you're a Black woman, you're a judge, and you wear your hair natural. She said, I remember being fired 30 years ago because I was wearing natural hair. Yes.
Wow. And that is one small story that she opened up to you. And we
Right.
know it's out there. We know a
Oh,
lot of
absolutely.
people, unfortunately, have been fired for things like this. So I really, I do help something like this. Just, I hope it passes the Senate because why can't we be allowed to show who we are? It's just like, it's a
No.
different time now. It should be so widely accepted, right?
You would think, right? Like, why is it still a topic of discussion,
Right.
right?
Why
Why?
is it still a topic of discussion? But thankfully, it's being addressed.
It is, absolutely. It needs to be.
And we have a number of proponents and, that are just supporting it. And,
Absolutely.
I
And
mean, I'm not in the legal system, but I totally get the legality of it and
sure,
the importance of it and
sure.
the awareness of it. What other stories might you have about anyone who's listening out there and how to,
Mhm.
you know, how important it is to feel, to sit with your authentic self as people are recalibrating their
Yes,
lives, Meech?
absolutely. I think that it has a lot to do with being comfortable and
Mm,
confident in who you are and who you are presenting each and every day. Like, we are our own walking billboard, because
yes.
that is who you see and what you get. And for me, it was very important because I was raising a young Black daughter, and confidence was instilled in me. And I wanted to instill that same confidence in her when she was
Yeah.
going to school with classmates who didn't look like her, or their
Mm,
hair didn't look like her hair. And I just wanted her to have the same confidence that I had to say, you know what, where she could make the hard choice at that time, being in college and you wanting to get your first summer internship, that was a hard decision. Like, do I take my chances or
Right.
risk my chances of getting this internship in a field where I want to practice? So I want her to have that same, I wanted to, and I believe hopefully I've done a good job to have the same confidence to make hard decisions when it comes to presenting your authentic self.
I love that so much because you hit on such an important word. Like the pillar of this entire podcast is confidence and the importance of it in our success, in our careers and life. Oh wow, my heart is
Yeah.
just like going out to you, Meech, because
Yes.
and you're raising a daughter, and then by her positivity and her happiness, then other people. You know what I mean? She's giving off that her authenticity is happiness and that connection's being made, right?
That's what it's about, Francesca. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm telling you, positive energy attracts positive energy, right?
Yes.
And that is what you want to exude in hopes that it comes back to you. So absolutely. So that's
Yeah,
important. That's
it's
important.
so important. I so love this. Um, Wow. And it's kind of like, people might think that the law of attraction is too woo woo, but like begets like. It's not too woo woo,
Yes,
right? Like
absolutely.
this happiness is going to attract happiness. It's your outlook
Absolutely.
on life, right? It's who you surround yourself with and what you think about.
I absolutely agree wholeheartedly because it is real. Okay. Like positive and negative energy, real.
Is
So
real.
it's real. Absolutely. So yeah,
There's
I'm glad that I had the foundation in the family that knew how important the confidence was
I
and they
love
were able
that.
to pour that into me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's great. And I hope this influences so many other people as they listen to this show. But, one of my favorite questions to ask my friend is there a particular piece of clothing or accessory, Meech, that lights you up? Like, how does it make you feel when you put it on?
Okay. So I would identify the accessory as
Mm.
one of my Pandora bracelets, where the charms on that bracelet are different countries and cities that I've visited thus far throughout my lifetime. So that makes me feel good when I wear that bracelet and just thinking about my next adventure of travel.
I love that. It's so great. Yeah, I'm gonna think of you every time I pass by that Pandora store, right? But what a nice little treasure you have on your hand to remind you of where you've been and like different places you want to
Absolutely.
go.
Absolutely. Love it.
That's fabulous. That is so great. So where's your next place? Where's your next place that you really want to visit? If you could share with us.
Oh,
Where do you
absolutely.
want to go?
My daughter and I are finally taking a trip. We planned in 2019 to take in 2020, but we all know the big C that happened, right? So we
The big scene. Yeah. I
we
love how you say that.
we are finally taking a trip to Greece this summer.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. Yes, you will share pictures. We will have lunch, coffee,
Absolutely.
whatever after. Oh, that's
Absolutely.
fabulous.
I'm excited. Yes, I'm
Good for
excited.
you. My friend, this has been so great. So if someone wanted to continue the conversation with you, because I think you have so much to offer in this topic, but many other topics, because talk about positive energy, I think,
Yeah.
connecting with you, I feel blessed. But if
Yeah.
someone wanted to reach out to you, Meech, like, where's the best place for them to find you?
Okay, so social media and the best platform would be LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Well, what I'll do then to make it easy for everyone, I'll put the link to your specific profile in the show notes, and
Yeah,
they'll be
which
able to
is
get you in a heartbeat. So, and I hope
thank you.
everyone does, because she really is positive and energy all around. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank
Meech.
you,
It's been an
Francesca.
honor. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. Bye.